specifically, please send it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to step through. The goal is to step it through from the market preview to the evening. So welcome, everybody. This is Simon with ToughTrader.com doing the trade review for the 19th of March. Market's still open, but I'm pretty much done for the day. So actually, not pretty much. I am done for the day. So I wanted to go and rebuild how today set up and how we could have done it either better or worse, right? And what we did right and what we did wrong. I think the cool thing is I've had a couple of members that had struggled in the past that had just monster days today. I was really happy for them. I had a monster day, which was cool. Didn't do so good in ES, so I want to go look and see how I could have improved that. But let's look how it's set up piece by piece going back. So first of all, it was interesting. The first piece that was big, and actually before I get started, wow, I'm in full ADD mode, but we're going to fix that. Here we go. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. I'm trying to share my trade plan with you all in hopes that it'll make you a better trader. My goal, the whole goal of this room is to make people better traders. You can lose a lot of money trading, right? Make sure you have a risk management plan and a focus to stay on that plan day after day, week after week, because that is all that matters is the consistency and putting in the P&L in your account. If you're losing money, stop and reorganize. That's all I can say. Stop and reorganize. If you can't make money trading paper, you can't make money trading real money. Just as simple as that. It's the opposite is not true necessarily, but that is definitely true. If you can't make it in paper trading, you can't make it at all. Anyway, let's jump into it. So the first thing that was interesting that happened was Thursday night. Thursday night, some EU parliament member said that they were going to look into placing a tariff or a tax on the FANG stocks. Okay, we had OpX, right? So my initial thought when I heard that, and if you look in early Asia, was that we did get that roll to the downside on that news. Let me see if I can pull the chart here from a couple of days ago. I know I have it hidden. We used it this morning. Okay, so this is the chart from a couple days ago. This takes us back to, oops. This takes us back to, okay, Globex session. This is the 15th, 16th was Friday. This is Globex. This is where that announcement came out. This is where you got that, where we got that initial push to the downside, and then it recovered. If you look into OpX, right, which was the 16th, we held overnight. They pushed down, they pushed all the way up, and we essentially ended up with balance at the end of the night, at the end of the day, right? They didn't let it roll over. I thought we would roll over for two reasons, but doesn't matter what happened. It just didn't come to fruition. And then I figured with the strength that we were having that maybe that the news didn't matter. So fast forward through here. This is, am I off? 16th, 18th. That's Saturday. Excuse me, I apologize. This is where we ended up balancing. This, I stand corrected. This was the push down in Asia. You can see that we just balanced all the way through. And then you can see we were weak in NQ going into the close on Friday. Okay, go to Sunday evening. Now, over the weekend, Facebook, I don't have an opinion on this, but they said they had either a leak or they let information on 50 million users be had by one of Trump's organization. And I couldn't tell if it was legit or not legit, what the deal was, but clearly somebody thought it was legit, right? That and the tariff talk was reiterated last night in front of Europe. And you can see when we got to the European session, at the beginning of the session, it was just ugly. That's normally 2 a.m., but it's now 3 a.m. with the open being put with our daylight savings time, right? We push all the way back for the U.S. Open. That's the normal overnight dip. And then we immediately go into a downside mode. Why is that important? That is important because often what you'll see at OpX is that the price action gets suppressed from whatever you think it's going to be on this day. It just gets suppressed and was mega choppy. It was really hard to trade it. And so that was the first piece, the first takeaway of going from Friday to today was OpX is no longer there. And I wrote over the weekend, I think that will pop. Why did I think will pop? Because if we come back over to the TPO, right, and this is ES. Let me pull this over here so everyone can see it. Okay, so let's go through, and I do this every day to make sure I have it hammered into my head. The most important area on this chart is this neighborhood right here. Okay. Next part that's important on ES. Okay. We have balance. 1, 2, 3 days of balance. The market is an energy machine, right? Builds energy, releases energy, builds energy, releases energy. This is building energy, right? You can see again here, we build energy. It follows this pattern, right? 3 days of building energy, pop. 2 days of building energy, pop down. 3 days of building energy, pop down. And it can go either way, right? Your job is to read it as a trader as to which way it's going to go. But we have an edge, right? We had a couple of pieces that were cluing this in. First of all, we were gapping down. We were below value area low. This is an easy checklist to go off of, right? Below value area low. What's the first thing that had to happen in order to go up? Outside of the drive towards value area low, the first clue that this would have been a reversal day would have been that we would have gotten inside 27.55 and a quarter and held. Obviously, that didn't happen. That was a big clue, right? The next thing is the opening print was pretty much the high. See that little letter A right there? If you break that out into 30-minute time frames, right? There was a pretty much open drive lower right out of the gate, right? Number 3, we failed to get back above the swing low from last week. Clue number 4, right? So you're adding all these pieces in, and we really didn't get clipped. We didn't get clipped long until later in the day, and they were small losses on ES. But the clues there, those were the pieces. So if you're looking to go, because I have a lot of members that they like to short, and that's understandable. You can make a lot of money short, right? But I also have a lot of members that were trying to short or looking to short up here, especially my swing traders were looking to short up here, but they wanted the moves to come quickly. The lesson here is 2 things. When you open up underneath the value area, even like on this day here, see when we got underneath that value area from here, we were able to make a big extension to the downside. Well, underneath the value area, big extension to the downside. The next thing you'll learn is when we're underneath the prior day's low, if you had to give a value rating for what's more important in the market, this gets a 10 right here. Prior day gets a 10. This is a group gets about a 6. It's important, but it's not that important. Okay. More importantly, off to the left, right? See how we try to hold this TPO point of control right here? The neighborhood is helpful, but it's not a trade location. But that TPO point of control, right? See that right there? So this is just on a 30-minute chart, but I know that it went up because the first 30 minutes we traded right down towards it. Then we pushed up really over the next hour towards 27.40, right? Next, you can see we establish underneath 27.32-ish, right? The next location is this area right over here. Now, I want to show you all something that's pretty interesting to me in nuance, okay? And you won't see a lot of guys talking about this, but I do think it's important. When the points of control are separated on a TPO profile, the volume profiles here, see how right here they're snug and right next to each other? Okay, that matters. Why does it matter? Why don't I have an arrow here? Let's see. Why does this matter? It matters because you have half the at least what I consider the serious day trading world looking at the TPO point of control and the volume point of control. So you have half at TPO, you have the other half at volume. When you enshrine them together at the same point, you tend to get a stronger response. That number was approximately, let's call it 27.33 to 27.32. When we look at the chart, and we go back to 27.33 to 27.32, right in here, I could have narrowed that down a little bit more. I had a little bit wider. You can see we get 2 responses off that same area. Okay, that's really so think about what your job is as a day trader. We're not swing traders, right? We're not trend traders. We are trying to capture leverage, concentrated profits in a very small specific area. Okay, so that data right there, if that is all the data you had, and that's the only place you placed a trade for the day, you had a winner, and that was very, very important. Additionally, what does that tell you? That should hold. Okay. Should hold, and when it closed underneath, it told you that that was a major warning sign. Also notice, see the lack of support areas here? Why isn't there a zone here? I could have drawn a zone anywhere in here, right? And then also notice this naked TPO point of control. See how they try to hold it? 5, 10, 15, really 20 minutes through here, but it actually closed slightly behind, 5, 10, 15, 20, right? Now, see how the price action behaved? Now correlate that to the profile, okay? Look at the this is where exactly where I pointed out this TPO and this volume point of control, right snug, right next to each other. This one, these are considerably separated. As a matter of fact, if you want to get down to nitty gritty on these two pieces, right? This TPO is 27.33 3/4 to 27.33. This one is 27.2150 all the way down to 27.18. Now, you may say that's no big deal, right? What's the difference? It's you know, one is 3.5 points and one is 3 ticks. I think it's a huge difference, right? Well, the difference is this. Look at the response. So it doesn't matter what my opinion is or what your opinion is. What matters is what did the market say? And what the market said is under heavy selling pressure, the TPO and the volume point of control that are close together tend to hold. The TPO and the volume point of control that are separated, right, tend to have a much more difficult time holding. Did it create a pause? Yes. If we hadn't had such intense selling pressure, would have it held? Probably. But it didn't in this case, right? So next, we come down to this anomaly at 2702 to 2700, right? So when we go back and look at the profile, which we're going to do, because it's important. Okay, next. Well, how did I lose this? Let's come back. Oh, I dragged it in. Let's drag it back together. Okay. So next, when we get underneath here, why did we hold that 2700? And if you look, see how in this chart, and I've been pointing this out for a couple days, I pointed out, for members in the room, you'll recall, I said, this area needs to get re-auctioned, and this area needs to get re-auctioned on top. That we are likely to find reversal areas out of those two areas when they get up there, right? So what did the market do today? This was the first profile that needed, first part of the profile that needed to get fixed. This is the second part of the profile that needs to get fixed, okay? And then there's one more piece below there. So if you look, it's this, 2702, 2699. I laid these out in the pre-market, followed by 2690 to 2685. The chart from 3.5 is repaired. The chart from 3.5 is repaired at 2685. And from a TPO point of control, it's the final anomaly. Now, there's another hole in the profile, which I consider is important as well. So see this volume point of control and this TPO point of control right here? They were almost tested on the 5th. We opened, we backside tested it. We just missed the TPO point of control and it lifted. So I consider that a no-go. This does not exist for me, okay? So the next area that I consider important is this area right here, 2774 to 2772.50. It's 2675, let's call it, okay? That's the next important area behind there. So you have 2690 to 2685, which might get tested overnight, and then 2674 to 2672. What this is showing you is very clear information for a day trader, okay? What this is telling you is important information. When I look at this, so I tweeted this over the weekend, we're building energy, guys. We're going to go vertical. And then I wrote, the most likely result of that vertical move is up. Right? Why? We're in a bull market. We've been trending up, higher highs, higher lows. We get the Facebook news over the weekend, and prior to OpEx, which was a little bit deceiving, we had the Thursday night news of the tariffs. Okay, so the tariffs didn't get affected. OpEx held the trade in place, right? The Facebook just, and the FANG stocks just put a cement seal on it. And then we had one other piece. If you look at the banking stocks were very, very strong last week. We are going into a Fed meeting on Wednesday, and I assumed, right, that we would continue that strength. And what I said was ES should be relatively stronger than NQ, and that held true, right? ES was only down 43, NQ's down 170 points. It's a massive discrepancy. And if you looked at the open, we were only down, I think, 10 or 11 points at one point just prior to the open versus almost 100 on NQ. That is not, there's not a correlation there in terms of the amount of downside. What did change was once we opened, everything started getting sold right out of the gate. that part wasn't hard to figure out. So now we're going to translate one more piece. I'm going to go through the NQ chart, okay? And then we're going to translate into how the price action looked intraday. And I'm doing this because I think today was so important. That's why I'm going through the day step by step so you can learn from it, because I think you learn a lot from days like today. Most traders that I coach, and most traders, including myself, have big difficulties on days like today because they try to keep catching a falling bottom, or they short way too late in the day and they get run over, kind of like what people are experiencing right now with the push up here at the end of the day. Okay, so let's go and flip that around to NQ really quick. And on NQ, okay, so these are the levels. I want to show you something. These are the levels I had drawn out from the market preview. I have not erased them, reset them, or anything else. I said this was your general area of resistance, right? Next area was 45 to 28. Next area was the 69.14 to 69.96. And then I came all the way down and I said 69.1975. Look at that. It hit it to the tick. Do you see that? And the way this chart translates, here, I'll show you so we don't even have to do it over again. Duplicate chart. Analysis, clean chart, 5 minutes. That should leave us with just the levels, candlesticks. There you go. So there's those same levels, right, that I pointed out this morning. I called them out each level piece by piece, right? Overhead resistance. So here's zone 1. Here, I'll box them off. Right? And then I think I put a support zone right here. This is your next support area. You see it tried to hold and it busted through. Notice there was no support. Okay, so this is really hard concept for the guys that I coach initially, or guys with little trading experience. They see the two-way sided trading in here, but notice how the market, when it's heavy, wants to complete all the way down to its support level. So what did the market do? We quickly, because this is unauctioned or poorly auctioned, went through this area, traded sideways. And what is this process? What are we doing right here? We're building volume. We're filling in the holes in the profile. Where do we come down to? The first part of the worst part of the unauctioned area, or the poorly auctioned area below, and we tagged it. Why did we respond so strongly there? Because we're on a huge stretch. Look at the close from 70.40 to 68.20. It's 200 points. The market needs energy to continue going. It's just simply ran out of energy down here. So they finally tagged a 16.8, 1975. It finally bounced. Now, I want to tell you something about that. That is not easy to keep track of. When you've been trading all the way through the day, we caught a huge chunk of this short portion of the day, right? You forget. I guarantee you, people forget. I don't think there was a person in the room that took long at 1975. I know I didn't. And I was looking to get set up long there, and I could not keep my head together, which is why I walked out. This is where I went to lunch. I've just been going at it too long to remember that I was supposed to take 68.1975. And not only that, but look, yes, did it bounce? Sure. But think about this psychologically. This is where you're at 68.1975. What on that chart, when you're looking at that chart in real time, what on that chart makes you go, oh, yeah, we're reversing right here. Not at 67.99.75, not at 67.74. That makes sense to me. Now, let me show you what did make sense that I missed. I'm going to rewind this, okay? When I go over to 68.1975 on the ALGOS. So remember, this is the way I should have done it. I knew I had support at 68.1975. So guys who are on YouTube, this algo is really, really short-term oriented. The range bars are 5 range bars, which on a 200-point day, you're just going to fly through. They print every couple of seconds. But the algo tells me where I'm looking for particular reversals. Let's see where we got the had to be back over here. Where did 68.1975 come in? Let's see. Had to finish up over here somewhere. According to this, we just missed the 1975. Got it. Okay, so now look through here. We know we didn't quite hit the 1975. It reversed, right? So the first thing you're going to notice is look when we came down to the lows. So the threes tipped me off that if I can get above these last series of threes, whichever's the lowest one. So you see that one right there where I got a 3. I want to close above it, point of control above, right? And I want a green bar. That's the object. So see how, so look at this low as we were coming through on the algo, right? Look at the prior low when we came through here. Right. In here, notice there were some threes, but not a lot, and they made it pretty difficult. The turn could have been scalped, but it was an outer space. Remember, the support area is at 68, 1975. So this is hard. This is challenging from a trading standpoint. And the reason why it's hard is you go, oh, look, I've got a signal to go long. Actually, this signal wouldn't have come up to all the way over here. This signal wouldn't have triggered to all the way up over here. So even think about if this had triggered perfectly, right? Which I don't think anyone took. I know I didn't take this. It didn't look right here. But at any rate, the point is we triggered off the low, right? So notice that the last 3, I want y'all to show this. See, so for my guys that are using the algo, see how that red 3, I want to get behind that red 3, but notice how it didn't print at the low. So see that picture right there? Okay, now scoot over, keep that in mind. Now look, when we push down the next time, see how we get a series of 3s, and this time, see how we get a 3 print right at the low, okay? So that tells me some pretty important information. It tells me they were stacking the deltas through here as well as the sell imbalances. Notice that we had a sell imbalance over here. People panicked. Clearly, people panicked over here, right? And also we hit a new low between Ron, I think you were pointing this out, the 337 versus the 279. But the difference between these two spots, okay, guys, really, really, really important. The difference between these two spots. Number one, I know that I have a pretty good support area from a really poorly auctioned area down here. So it's a little bit of a contradiction for me because I'm like, we should try to shoot for that 1975. But on the other hand, I see that they're really trying to push down for it and they can't get it, right? So that tells me as soon as I close above here, right? As soon as I close above this 68.3150, which happens, meaning I want the point of control, which is the yellow line to close above, that triggers me long. Now notice the difference. For my trigger to occur on this bar, I had to get already from 68.26 to 68.41. I'm 14 points off the low. That makes the stop really, really suck, right? So I probably want to skip on that, right? But now this trade right here is a little bit more interesting. My trigger, which could have been filled, right, was right here at 68.34, and my stop is right here at worst case situation, 68.26. Now we're talking about an 8-point NQ stop in an environment where we're doing 200 points. That's a good risk reward, right? So this became very attractive. What do I need in order to be able to catch this? Well, first of all, I can tell you I think I goofed this because I was focused on ES instead of NQ today, and I didn't catch the turn. I was already tired. I've been going at it for a long time. It takes a lot of thinking, even when you have the machine telling you, hey, heads up, it takes a lot of thinking here, right? Now let's go compare. So we know that this was, if you want a picture on a heavy sell day of what a mediocre low looks like, this is your picture. So now I know I can write my trade plan. Even if I get signaled in, right? And even if this works, let's say we were to rocket ship away from here, I can write in my trade plan if I'm using the algo, right? So if I'm not using the algo, I'm just using the zone, I really want to get down towards this 68.1975. That's what I'm looking for, right? If I'm using the algo to trigger me in, I really don't want a 14-point stop, right? Because I can see now that on good down days, I actually do get the pressure right at the low to trigger me in, right? Now watch how this cycle went. We push up to the right. We now get the opposite signal right here. See this right here? This triggered me in, and I want to see which one it would have been. I needed to close because I want to show you how the sequence went when we were at the low. So now we know what the long looked like. This is my first sequence in for the short, and it would have been right here. So ask yourself, what's the problem with this trade, which is exactly what I do. I would have been triggered at 36, but technically my stop had to be back here at 49. I don't want 14-point NQ stops, right? So I have to make a distinction when I'm using the algo, and I'm down 180 NQ points, right? I'm not crazy about shorting. So A, did the trade work? Nope. It stopped me. It was just as mediocre as the first long, right? But now watch the next sequence. We push up. See how I get the 3 print right at the high? See that? I get the highest delta right at the high. This 180, right, was my peak delta. As soon as I get a point of control closing underneath, so I'm technically the first red bar underneath this, I trigger short. Nope. Yes, I trigger short right there on that bar. My stop would now become, why did I trigger short? Because I closed underneath my highest point of control on a red bar, right? And this signaled me in to short. If I really wanted insurance for the short, and I'm pretty sure we took this. This is 1245. Let me see something. I'm pretty sure we took this, if I remember, without going into my trade log. 1245, and that would have been short 68. That was it right here. So this was, should have shown the time, 1050, and that would have been California time. So 1250 is where we ended up taking this trade, which was over here. Would have been the next. Great, I know. Let me get this back over here for you. It would have been 1250, so that's 1050 California time. So right here on this bar right here, when we closed on this bar, I said I'm shorting. What the heck did I say I was shorting? 68. Oh, wait, it had to be down here. Well, I just had it, guys. Hold on one second. I shorted 68. 68.52 against 68.60. Okay. So that means I shorted. I was a little late is what happened. I couldn't get the backside test. I ended up shorting right here with the stop right here. So I want everyone to see what happened there. Okay. So you get all 5 pieces. I got triggered, right? Notice that this is much more desirable. This is much more desirable because I'm right near the top. I can have a tight stop, right? I'm 52 against 68 points versus 14 points, $160 versus $280 in stop per contract, right? I couldn't get filled. I tried here first. I came down to 52 and ended up getting the trade, right? Stop right above. And now what's my target below? Well, we're trend day down, so I'm thinking we're going to roll to the downside. So I first target was 5 points, right? Why? Because I want to get some of my risk off. So I'm pushing that to the right. Let's see if we can get this to go. Push this to the right. I immediately get my 5 points, right? Immediately get my 10 points. See that? And now I have a decision to make. Do I want to sit there and ride the trade out the rest of the way, or do I want to move my stop to break even? What I usually do after 10 points is I move it to true break even, and I would have gotten stopped out here. Now watch this series again, right? Push up. Notice I get no short signal or long signal till right there. That would have been a long signal. I definitely would not have wanted it. We roll down. Now, if you'll notice, this is my next short signal. No way in heck do I want that, right? Look at my stop, right? Push back up. Now, notice now what happens. See how I just pushed up here and I got a 253. I got a short signal right underneath there. Let me see, 97. Yes, right there. Now I'm short, and if I want to short at the low of the day, which I don't, but if I want to, I now have a short entry here and I have a short entry here with the stop right above 68.53. But think about this for a second. Do I really want the short, right? We're at the end of the day. Do I really want to go through and grab that short? Hell no, right? I'm looking for the long. Does it work? Yeah, it works. See that? We rolled down to a new low. Okay. But now notice the difference. Remember when we were at the low prior. So I'm going to circle this. So we've rolled all the way down, right? See all those threes? That is telling me they are pushing like heck to the downside, like hell. Okay. Remember last time we were at the low and we looked at those two areas, right? See how over here they pushed before we got that run up. See how they didn't push at the low? Worked, but it was hard. See how they pushed at the low? I triggered. I got insta-rip to the upside, right? Now let's carry that over. So you know how to lean on that. Now let's carry it all the way over to where we are right now. Okay, let's stop right there. What do we know about 68.1975? It's a major support area. We already highlighted that early in the morning. I know they're pushing down. If I can get a green bar to push over this, I should be long, right? Assuming that I have all my faculties about me. Push, close above, triggered in against this 5-range bar. What's my stop? Let's go find out what my risk is. The best I could have done was 68.2975. My stop had to be 21.75. Now watch how the market responded from there. And to give you a bigger picture, right, we're trading against why does that look funny? Because we should have a 19. This should have been at 68, 1975, not 68, 21.75. I don't know why I had that off by a little bit. Or maybe I'm wrong on the 19, but I think it's the 19 is the point of control, the anomaly, right? But I know that I have, I wrote this in late. That's why. Repairs the March 5th TPO profile, point of interest. And what did I say earlier? We want to trade underneath it and get back above. So we know that we're at a critical location. We come down back over here, right? I can see the ton of selling pressure that's taking place through here because it's signaling me that there's such. I don't have to go and look at everything. I can just visually see it, right? I close above right here, right? Now I'm long. Look at the resulting push, and look where it pushes to. See that 68.46? That was my prior trigger area. Now notice, I never get any green threes up here that I can get behind. No short. Notice I still don't have a short here, and I don't want these shorts. Why don't I want these shorts? They're too far away. I don't want the stop, right? And now we finally push all the way up to 68.68. So that's why the algo is so important. It'll be coming to more and more use in the room as I get it more and more streamlined for everyone to use. And it'll provide us with some big P&L. Let's just go do one other thing before I wrap this up, right? On ES, if we look at the ES algo, okay, at the low. So if we look at the ES chart near the low, what did we have? $27.02 to 2,700 clearly marks as an anomaly and a clear low, right? So I want to go look at that so we can model that again. 27.02, and the first time in on that is 12.30, right? So let's go look at the 12.30 push. Okay, notice again. See the first time down? See the first time down? This 3 prints telling me that there's sell pressure, but they're not really stacking them on top. There's just some sell pressure there, right? Notice that if I take this trade, so I want to go through this again. Bill, I hope you're in the room listening because I think this is important. And same thing, Alex and Ron, we've all been working on this pretty hard, right? Okay. There's technically your trigger, right? So what, again, I'm going to ask myself, even though the algo is telling me it's triggering long, right? What do I want to do? I want to look at you, okay, Mr. Algo, you told me it's long. I've done the work. But the first thing I'm going to look at is, well, damn, if I need to hold my swing low, you know, my long triggered actually right here because this this point of control didn't close above. My long trigger's here. I need to stop from 27.06 down to 2,700. Now, that's not the worst stop in the world, 6 points, but I'd rather have it tighter. So now look how it comes back on the second dip through. We come down and look, we get these 3 stacked right on top of each other, right? Notice that my delta increases right at the low. And now this becomes the point of control I need to beat. Why is that important? Because I now trigger right here, long, right? And my stop now goes from 27.02, right? Which, by the way, you could have gotten you could have entered this trade one of 2 ways, and I'm going to show y'all here. My hard stop has to be 26.9875. So from 27.0275 to 98.75 is 4 points. So now I've cut my risk from 6 down to 4, really 7, because I want to add just a tick or 2 behind that just to make sure I don't get 1 ticked, right? Now, additionally, if I want a tighter stop, This is my trigger bar right here. Does everyone see it? Oh, wait, you don't see it. I apologize. Let me do this one more time. Here we go. Okay. So see how these three stacked right on top of each other? They're telling me, hey, they're really pushing hard here, right? My delta, this is my delta on the last push down. This is my next delta push down. This should have given you a new leg down. Notice my point of control is right here, right? I have to close above that point of control on a green bar. Now, I want you to notice this. I'm triggered long right here. So if I just hit market entry right there at 27.02, as soon as this prints, my stop needs to be 26.9875. I have a 4-point stop there, right? But if I'm a little patient and I can lean back right here, 27.01, now I've cut my stop down to 2.5 points. See that? So even in a hairy, nasty mess that we're in where we're down a lot, I can tag this trade in right on the backside, the risk being that it just takes off without me, right? So I have to be willing to do both. I have to be willing to let go of the trade, right, if I want the tighter stop, but I can tag in right at 27.01. Right now, watch the result. So push down, a little bit of heat. So remember, I had somewhere between 4 and 2 points of risk. I've now gone from 20, and I have to be sharp at 12 in order to capture it, which is a challenge for me with the dyslexia that I have sometimes. I miss them, right? 27 from 27.02 and 3/4, you're now at 27.10. You either had a 1-to-1 risk reward there, or you had a 4-to-1 risk reward, depending on which entry you used or which methodology you used for entering the trade. But we're not done with the downside. See, as it's pushing up, my last 3 is over here. I do not want to short this thing if it gets over here. It's too far away. I want a 3 on the push up if I still think it's going lower. Now, I have a 3 right here, right? This is my bogey, so I'm always going to pay attention, right? I want to get underneath this guy right here on a close of a 5-minute range bar with the point of control underneath, and I've got to consider what my stop is. And right now, my stop has to be at 27.1275 if I'm going to take it. Now, I'm not short yet. I'm not short yet. I'm short now. Now, what's the issue here? I'll tell you what the issue is. The issue is my entry is 27.07, and my risk has gone from 4 points if I take this on the close to 3, 4, 5 3/4. It's too big a stop in here, guys, in my opinion, for the amount of leverage that I know most people are using in here, right? But if you tick through here carefully and you watch, we backside test this right there before rolling over. See that? But I would have wanted, even though I completely missed this, right? So I wasn't here, but I still would have wanted it to tag into, oh, wait, I stand corrected. I would have wanted it to tag right there, 27.0850. And notice we tag right to 27.0850. Why is that important? Because now my stop is 27.1275, right? And that was realistically because this was my trigger bar. That was the smallest stop I was going to be able to put in. But that still matters because now I know exactly what my risk is. I know exactly how I can size that trade. And now watch what happens to your P&L on the push of that backside test. There's you get your first roll down, and you roll from 27.0850 back over here all the way down to 27.01. So even if you were using the 4 points, you still exceeded your 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, right? Then I want to show you one other thing. As we push down towards the low, which I think we did one more time, or we didn't, and I don't think we got a reversal out of that. Let me see. When we pushed back down, I stand corrected, we did. When we came down through here, we got those 3 threes in a row. I really would have wanted it at the very low. I see NQ hit a new low and ES didn't is what happened. So we pushed down right here. Again, I wouldn't have been trading this. It's already the last hour. But if you look, this 3 right at the bottom, just like on NQ, see how it came right at the bottom? And then we close above. So look at your risk reward through there. Again, I'm not crazy at all about the last hour. This is your trigger. This is your stop. Okay, 27.08, right? 27.08. This is the trigger. Your stop is 27. Let's call it 04 1/4. Let's just say it's 4 points, and you're able to achieve your 1-to-1 risk reward. and actually you're able to achieve your 2-to-1 risk reward on the trade. So that's the value of the algo, telling you where to trigger in. That's what the algo looks like, even though it doesn't always work perfectly. When we get to the bottom, and then one other piece as I'm going through, remember I said even if we lift, so a lot of times on ES, if we lift off the low, right, so you're coming down, and what you want is a big press right into the low, but you don't get it. But then you get this lift like here where we cleared that last swing. And then on this next little press, what you want is as we press the low, just like we got this 3 right here, even though it wasn't the low, as you get that 3 and you can press in against that, where the 3 comes in right at the very bottom of that stack, and as soon as you close above it, now you have a tight risk. Now you have a tight risk reward, and you can enter that trade even if it isn't the absolute low for the push back to the upside. So you don't have to worry about missing the low, even if the algo doesn't trigger you in. And something must have happened because NQ just jumped pretty damn nicely, actually. So right after hours. So either it's a massive short squeeze, but we're only down 33 here at the end of the day as we're closing in after hours. So to bring it all back into one piece so everyone understands, right? We have 2 critical pieces of information, or 3 that we start with every day. The core of the decision-making comes off of the TPO profile. If you don't know mind over market, you don't understand how profile works, my strongest suggestion for any trader, learn it. Best $100 on a book you'll ever spend. It's like reading this physics book. If you're not scientifically oriented, it sucks. It's a bit like sandpaper, but the knowledge and the information is fantastic. Number 2, the algo. That's my creation in collaboration with some of the people in the room. That really tips me off on that small range of keeping of showing me where people have overstepped their boundaries. And when I merge this with this, meaning I know that I've got great trade location in here, right? When I merge these 2 pieces together, right? When I do that, I guess this was the low. I lost track on that 2-range bar, so I apologize. That was into the low. We got to press this. Oh, wait, that's not right. This 1330. Let me see something here. 1338. Okay, so when we press this low the second time, I'm sorry, I'm jumping back and forth. When we press this second low, see how we didn't get a press into the low here, and I would have missed it. We got some divergence as we were pushing down. But see how you got this 3 right over here to the right? So this is important again, guys, especially for people in the room. Please, please circle. Okay, that's the exact example I was talking about. So please circle it. You get the press down. You don't get a press down here like we were looking for that we got in NQ and ES. But see this press right here where you close above? Now this becomes your stop. Not this. This becomes your stop. And that's where you got to lift from 2704 all the way up to where we are right now, which is 2723. Okay, and it never looked back from there. So normally those won't come in the last hour. And like I said, I think the last hour is hard and I was mentally wasted at that point. But the trade setup was there, and it's unfortunate that it came so late in the day. So we're merging the data and information that the algo is giving us, okay, back with the trade location that the TPO is giving us, right? This is just broken down to simplify it, right? And then we're taking the context of the day type, which is right out of mind for markets. I didn't invent that, right? 3 days sideways consolidation. The market is an entropy machine. It builds energy to distribute the energy over a wide area. It takes energy from a very small concentrated location. Imagine it like a bomb. Very small concentrated piece of information, of energy, right? That energy builds and builds and builds. It's triggered, and when it's triggered, it blasts outward and over a wide area. That's exactly what this day is. And what this is right here, this is the market running out of energy, right? Because it's expanded all its energy. It's done its job. This is the range expansion. Energy's been expanded. Tick divergence at the low. Mari, if you're still in the room, you asked me earlier about tick divergence. That is tick divergence. See that big spike right there? Then we come down, make a new low, tick divergence off of that. So that would have been added to your list of positives for a long side trade. Again, I'd already left for lunch when that occurred, right? And then that's your swing back to the upside. I cannot think of a more succinct way to show how valuable all the data we have the trade plan, the algo, and the process that you follow, right? And keep refining that over and over and over again. And that leads to consistency day by day. So, Mari, do you have any questions, or does anyone in the room? I see some people in the room have a question. Hold on a second here. Nope, no one does. I think I covered all the bases pretty thoroughly. That's about as good as it gets. Any questions? Going once? Going twice? Sold 3 times. Guys in the room, a couple of y'all had a record day. A lot of y'all had just very good days, right? I didn't hear from anybody who got beat up. If you did, contact me. We'll talk about it. And keep staying on process. If anyone who's on YouTube would like to visit us, send me an email to tradertough@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me over Twitter or Skype, Twitter or StockTwits. And I hope everyone has a good night. I'm going to go enjoy my evening and hang out with my kiddos. I'll have the charts up for tomorrow up in a couple of minutes. I'll see you later, guys. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining on YouTube. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Have a great day.